mark on academics. Can't ride no wave. And maybe this is probably gonna end up being me giving like this long speech, even though I'm trying not to do it until my birthday happens. But I'm probably gonna end up doing it. You know, let's do a little recap, chat. Um, and let me have just a moment of clarity. You know, I know a lot of y'all Kendrick fans are upset with me, and I understand it. I'm a little biased. I thought I stated my biases. I'm not perfect. You know, I always tell people, do you rather the person who tells you the truth and the truth doesn't go with what you like, or the person who lies to you and act like and moves like a snake just to try to look like they're with you? I'm not gonna be that person. The Kendrick and Drake battle, I clearly was rooting for Drake. He's my favorite rapper. His music resonates the most with me. To put in perspective, ever since I was a college student trying to figure it out, racking up tens of thousands of dollars in debt every couple months, and yes, I graduated Rutgers University with over 6 figures in debt. I was trying to figure out life like any person that was in their early 20s. A man who's in their early 20s. Not knowing what to do, having passions, but also listen to your parents and also listen to what society says, and also try to figure out what could be what. Because at the end of the day, you know, I always tell people, no matter, even if they see me in a position that, you know, they either want to get to or whatever, none of us are meant for a 9 to 5, including you. If you have a passion, I always tell people, start a business, make sure you do your thing. Because you have to find a way to liberate yourself from all of this bullshit. And that was me. So I'm trying at a point just to try to, you know, do better and change my circumstances, and not knowing what would kind of like come of this. And I'm lucky. Every time I've spoken about this, people be like, well, it's not only luck, you were prepared. And I do agree with that too. You know, I was waiting for this moment. I planned for it, and it did happen, and I'm glad everything that happened. But the chain of events that led me to the moment that I'm at, you know, at times I even feel bad because I do feel there's a great deal of luck. Let's go back to the Drake and Kendrick beef. When I came to America in the early 2000s, 2001, if you listen to my intro, I was a Jamaican kid, loving music. Dancehall and reggae and hip hop has always had a parallel, almost cousin type relationship. I didn't know what Brooklyn was. I was living in the countryside of Jamaica. But I knew what the music was. Because the music, even though it didn't feel relatable, it was good. When I first came to America, it was early 2000s. Again, it was 2000, 2001. Right before the towers fell. Before the, historic terrorist attack. And if you remember that time during music, it was important. I remember going into school and I was watching like lunch was like, you know, I went to public school. Lunch was really exciting. Everybody was at their little circles with their friends. This is like, was it middle school or grade school? I don't remember. Everybody playing like a beat on the fucking table. I think grinding was the thing back then. Everybody was like beating on the beating drums on the lunch table, just like kind of like doing the grinding beat or whatever. By the way, it's so funny how things come back around because Drake ends up dissing Pharrell, and Pharrell and the Clips are they're not like mutually exclusive because Pharrell the Clips, like, come on. Anyway, when I first came here, I remember looking at how people cared about even hip hop and just cared about the music. And it reminded me of where I came from. The conversations I was watching where people were arguing about who was the winner between Jay-Z and Nas, because that was the beef at the time. Jay-Z and Nas. And I was a kid. But the beef between them reminded me of what I saw my older cousins and my older brothers beef about or argue about in Jamaica. Bounty or Beanie? Who's the guy? And I remember watching that and I was just like, damn, that's so much passion. I tried to get, I got into sports, of course, a little bit. And, Allen Iverson was my favorite basketball player, still is. But there's something about music that's just very special. And I remember just watching, just hearing people argue and cape for an artist because that artist represented you. They rapped almost a lifestyle that you almost felt you were related to. I got that, right? And I love music. I was trying to get into music at any means necessary. Now, here's the problem for me. The thing for me was that, by the way, if y'all hear that, that's Pluto. That is not Drake fucking a dog. I feel like, it's so crazy now. Like, I used to be, and I'm like sidetracking a little bit because I know that's Pluto crying. He's upstairs. I used to be the guy who used to sit back and just think this industry was all of these ugly things, and I would just come up with theories. And I ain't gonna lie, in the last about year or so, I've just kind of sat back and kind of look at myself, and I was just like, dog, everything you assumed about other people when you weren't in this, they assume about you. If you get a text message and you look at it on your phone and your dog happens to cry in the background, they say you're hiding Drake fucking a dog. These are the things that I used to think when I was you. That's how I thought. So when I get to this position, and y'all all know I'm not the person who the industry has ever coddled, ever accepted. You can't name 5 industry niggas who like me. Y'all even claim the people who I claim is like me. Y'all claim they don't like me. Y'all know I'm not the industry favorite. I've never been the pick me. I've never been the person who people could be like, the industry has chosen Ak. And I thought that would be enough to let people know I could never be them. But even then, I still see the same thing because here's the thing. This is why I played that Jay-Z song, Jay-Z and Nas, Success. It's not about who you know and what you've done. It's about just your success level. So as I've sat back and I'm like, wait, they really think that I'm hiding Drake fucking a dog? What? That's not true. It's just not a thing. You know what I mean? I've gotten on live stream many times and I've showed you my phone with the messages of the people who I'm talking to. Just to let you know it's really real. I'm not just giving you propaganda. But maybe I've said one thing or another that's a little bit out of turn, or, I've forgotten a detail or a detail and a half. And I've realized now there's no more Ak is the guy who used to run barefoot in Jamaica, who fucking came over here with an immigrant family, who was too fat to get really accepted into the industry, who never carried a crate, never did bitch work. He had to fight his way to get to where he's at. I thought that was enough for people to be like, nah, Ak ain't them. He's not the guy who's chosen. He's not the guy who's preferred. Now I watch anything I do, people look at it and be like, yo, yeah, Ak is just hiding for the elites. He's covering up. He's doing this. And I'm almost dumbfounded because I'm like, fuck. I was once y'all. And I used to look at people who used to claim they were me and say, you're full of shit. it's so interesting what being on the other side of the coin teaches you. Truthfully. So, and let's get back to the Drake and Kendrick thing. I've thought I've always been honest. I thought I've always been transparent. When this whole Drake, well, first of all, if anybody goes, I've never deleted content. I'm not someone who's ever been ashamed of stuff I've said. I've realized that people have taken stuff I've said very incorrectly. Like to this day, it still bothers me. You know, and this is what fame does to you. It fucks with you at your core. I never had people hate on me ever in life, I promise you, until I gained some notoriety. And that fucks with you. When I seen people, you know, I was doing content to entertain my audience. It's what Akademiks, like, come on, I've the reason why, everybody knows, the reason why my intro sounds like that, I've done it a million times. I sped it up to the point that, like, I used to record at least at this house on this computer down here. It's what I do it a million times. It's sped up. That was just what it was, right? But I was also expecting that people kind of like understood like what the fuck I was doing, this and third. I guess lo and behold, and by the way, if you're watching this, and I know like, you know, this might not be a conventional stream for y'all. This is like a storytelling stream. I'm gonna do a storytelling stream maybe until midnight, and then maybe we do some topics, have some fun. I'll take some shots with y'all, and then I'll probably get off. You know, probably drunk as fuck, but I'll get the fuck off here. Yeah. So for me, it was like really shocking when people would say certain things about me, or you know, would not give me the benefit of the doubt. I always told people this, and this is for upcoming creators who watch me. I never did this content shit just to only get some money. I wanted to be one of the greats. Hearing Elliott Wilson, Joe Budden tell me this year, yo, Ak, you're number one. I didn't cry to them, but I was crying inside. That's what I did all this shit for. I wanted to be the number one media guy. I grew up watching all of them. I grew up watching Star, Charlemagne, all of them. And there was a point that it just felt like a distant hope. I was like, could I get there? You're not on radio. You haven't done this. You're just a YouTube nigga who does the, it's what It won't happen. The reason why I went on Everyday Struggle, I realized I had to conquer some fears. No one knew how I looked. I was making good money, but I said, for the people who like me and the people who represent me, I need to get, and this for anybody who's watching, you don't even have to be a YouTuber. Just take my story and just inspire yourself. I started hitting my head on the ceiling. I said, it's not about the money at this point. I want to be the best. I want my name to go down in history and my legacy to continue. So I got invited to Complex, and I was like, fuck, what is this? I did some videos about Joe Budden. I'm like, oh man, this nigga probably gonna get on my ass as soon as I walked in the office. I never met Joe Budden a day in my life. I've never met a rapper. Joe Budden was the first rapper I've ever met. You won't understand that. You won't even know that. He's the first rapper, retired or not, that I ever met. I was just doing everything from the crib. But I had a whole goal in mind. I said, bro, let's try this shit, man. Everyday Struggle, of course, was a blast. It was amazing. And it alleviated some of my concern when I was thinking about how do I get from the point of being a DJ in college to having some random radio show on college radio to being the number one guy in hip hop media. Things started to change quickly. I seen media change. I seen the atmosphere change. Podcasts started becoming more popular. Internet became the place that people consumed everything at. I watched people. I used to wake up, and trust me, I used to be on my phone when phones could access that stuff. But even before, I used to have a radio in my room, waking up to the Breakfast Club and other places. And now, the Breakfast Club knew who I was. The Breakfast Club was talking about me. I was like, wow, this is fucking crazy. And I'm like, God damn. I'm trying not to fumble this ball. I don't know what to do, though. All I have is ambition, a drive, a goal, and I think I got a little bit of talent, and I got a lot of work ethic. Trust me, I got a lot of work ethic. There were people who slighted me back then. I've mentioned them many times on here. It's interesting even now, and even when we're having a moment, I'm going to keep coming back to the Kendrick and Drake moment because it was such an interesting time. Every moment I was on here with y'all, I was crying, but I was crying as a kid who looked up at this industry saying, how could a little nigga from Jamaica penetrate, no diddy, this whole industry, keep his soul as integrity, and do it his way? Remember one of the first times I tried to do anything, there was a guy that was at Hot 97. And because of my association, or because I interviewed another guy from another radio station, he told me this was war. And I chose my side already. As a kid that was doing 4 or 5 DJ gigs a week for $70-$80, working full-time in a computer lab for, how much was I getting? Like $13-$14 an hour. Still paying rent, having a little car, trying to buy any equipment. That hurt my soul. To see that person now, even recently, I seen him go off on another rant on me, talking about how undeserving I was. I couldn't even formulate words. That person's name was Ebro. I watched the entire industry. Everybody. Everybody you like, everybody you don't like. Before I got to where I got to, they all shitted on me. They all laughed at me. I was the fat kid. I was whatever. But they've never said I was the lazy guy. Take that and use it to your story. I was never the lazy guy. I was the guy who did too much. I was the guy who did it always. I was the guy who did it first. I was the guy who did it consistently. They've never called me lazy, but they've called me everything else. So all that happened. And again, I'm going to keep using this Kendrick and Drake story as an anchor. To watch all the people I looked up to, the people who I begged for interviews, the rappers who never acknowledged me, it was a surreal feeling, right? It was a surreal feeling. After everyday struggle, I started kind of gaining my legs under me. A lot of people will realize that, the era of leaving everyday struggle, building the platform of Akademiks, but also, doing my live streams and other things. And if you've been here rocking with me with live streams since 2016, you know you are OG. But if you've been before 2016, you might be in a retirement home with me. It's a long time. Yeah. It was back then. sitting back, watching. Damn. I remember when we realized that the media used to pay attention to our streams. It was like, fuck, what the hell? This is supposed to be secret. Now that's a very distant memory. Anyway, I don't want to give you a long history lesson. I guess I want to update it a little bit. When Drake and Meek happened, I always say, not only me, a lot of people say this, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And I was doing something already, and I benefited off that. In this last situation with Kendrick and Drake, I think it's almost, I want to say 50x of what happened during the Drake and Meek thing. And I've seen people who I've never thought about seeing before. I've seen artists who would never look my way before. They're like, yo, Ak leaked this joint. I'm getting songs left and right. I got songs in my inbox even now. Yo, Ak, put this out, this and third. Yo, Ak, I'm about to diss him. Yo, man, if I'm getting it mixed. Whatever. It's happening. Very fortunate, and this is one of the reasons why I don't get at, and I don't argue. I'm trying to become better as a person because I do love the bullshit. Trust and believe. But I've also realized that, to be a man in this industry, I need to learn and grow. A lot of people always ask, why did I stop the war in Chirac? The war in Chirac was hitting. I remember the last few videos I did for it, it felt like I was checking a box. I didn't feel motivated. I felt like I was just doing it for the people. I couldn't even think of, I wasn't even captivated. I wasn't really even focused on the things I was really discussing. I was just kind of like, they want me to talk about it, so I'll talk about it. For me, it was important that I then made a stance to say, I'm good. Let me do something else. It was very important for me. Just like everyday struggle. Very important to me. Do something else. Show that you're great. Do something else. Conquer something else. Show you're great again. That's why I stopped. I was like, I think that my brand and what I'm here to do is going to be bigger than that. And if it's not going to be, so be it. I know I'm already dragging shit, and I know it's already about 27 minutes to my birthday already. And I don't want to give this an hour-long speech, even though I thought this speech was going to be like 5 minutes after my birthday. This is why, if you ask me, do you want to know where the Akademiks came from? It came from that. It came from, I was working 2 jobs, being a DJ, working at a computer lab in college. And I was looking up at all these guys I looked at. I was like, oh, they're so great. How do I get to them? How do I get to be like them? And I was like, oh, they're doing interviews. Let me do interviews. Let me try to figure out a way to get interviews done. And I remember I tried to interview like a bunch of like reality shows was popping, but it was like, I think it was like Love and Hip Hop. And I chased one person in particular. I don't even know if I've ever named her, but I called out of work for 8 times. Almost got fired. That's how much I was hungry. I was thirsty, trying to make this shit happen. I called out of my actual job that was guaranteed money to try to link with this person who didn't even respect me and was taking my time for granted. First time I showed up to where they said the show, oh, something went on. Second time, no response. They said, oh, okay, no, we're going to be there. Third time, did about 8 times. And I only popped off when I was at my wit's end. I was literally almost damn near frustrated. I said, yo, if this ain't meant for me, God is going to show me a sign. I'm not going to go chase interviews. I'm just going to go talk to a camera. In 2012, I started to just talk to a mic. I didn't have a camera yet on me, but I would just talk to a mic. Actually, I did shoot some episodes then. Okay. Again, we're not doing too much in the history. Let's update it. Back to this Kendrick and Drake shit. When everyone was saying, yo, Ak, yo, you're number one, this and third. All right, cool, whatever. I don't know about y'all, but nothing in my life has ever gone smoothly or too well. I've never been the guy who's had a birthday party. Trust me, still never had a birthday party. Never had a birthday party. I've never had the moments I see other people have where it's like, yo, huge celebrations. Everybody loves you. It's always been the smile beneath the frown most of the case. Where not a lot of people has ever been happy that I've either succeeded, somehow lasted. So I've never been that. And I felt some bullshit was coming. Honestly, truthfully, I just felt some bullshit was coming. I didn't know what it was, but I felt the bullshit was coming. And I remember, like, go watch me on the Joe Budden podcast. It was a Joe Budden podcast, and they were like, yo, nah, you're number one. And I was like, let's wait till the end of the year, man. Because I knew some bullshit was coming. I knew it was like, you know, and by the way, I'm not here also playing victim, because trust me, I do know that I give people hell, and I do be getting shit started. So I'm not the person who would be like, oh my God, why can't? No. I get it. But I definitely, I felt something about to happen. Or not even felt. Are you one of the people who anytime like three things go good for you, you're like, all right, what's about to happen bad? What news am I about to get on my phone? Be like, oh shit, you know what I mean? I don't know. It could be anything. Just, something bad comes after some good news. And yeah, I guess like that's what it is, right? That's what it is. Yo, annoying. I'm about to answer your call in a little bit. Let me just finish the story. It's gonna be real quick. I guess I say all this to say I'm thankful for y'all. Very thankful for y'all. I feel like there's been so many things in my life, particularly, that every time I've planned it like that, it's always gone wrong. But somehow I think God, and I think just the universe, but more than that, I think y'all always make it worthwhile. And I think that was a long way to kind of give you guys gratitude, because, again, I've never been the chosen one. I've never been the person who was perfect enough, the person who said the right things, who did the right things. But I've always been the person who hopefully my efforts and everything else could stand the test of time and it could last. And what I've always said is that in the moments that I've felt near defeat or I felt hopeless, the audience called the Chat Niggas have always been the greatest audience on earth. You guys have always picked me up. You guys have told me the right things. Sometimes it's even like shit. I feel like it was almost like a couple months ago. I was reading y'all messages and responding to y'all. Some of y'all be like, yo, Ak, man, stop being a fucking simp. Let me give you my stuff. And really, in some real shit, it for me, it felt real. And I hope for the people who hit me up, it felt real as well. Anyway, not to get too sappy and all that type of shit. I guess like really, I just wanted to, the attacks on me will never stop. Just know this. And if you're wondering if I'm good, I'm good. The attacks on me will never stop. But I've always told people, what they're attacking is not Akademiks the person. It's what I represent. And I don't just represent me. And I don't only represent y'all. There's just so many other people who this industry has now catered for and helped their families and provided them a way out and given them a platform. And they didn't have to do the other shit. They didn't have to do some weird shit by being this guy's bitch or working with these gatekeepers. Like, the gatekeeping shit has been eradicated. And I've told people consistently, every time they try to erase me, they're not realizing the bigger thing is not that it's just me. At a certain point, and I don't know when, maybe Ak won't be a formidable force in hip hop anymore. You know, one thing I could definitely say will happen? There's 50,000 people who are operating the same mold as I am, who built their platform, maybe even ascribing to certain things that I did. And they're as well, they come from the same standards and the same practices that I call new media. I've said this repeatedly. And I know sometimes it comes across arrogant when I'm talking my shit. But I've told people that this rap music media industry will never be the same after what we've done. I'm very proud to say that. This is why these days I don't beef with, other people who are like, new media members. I respect them and I'm glad what they're doing. But I only say that because I know some of y'all might be like, why is Ak always in some shit? There's a lot of people who believe if we get Akademiks out of here, we're good to go. That just isn't the case. So for the people who do the chat niggas and other people who are behind the shield that come with what we do. Sorry. I appreciate you guys, and I'm pretty sure some of y'all might be like, yo, Ak, what the fuck are you talking about? I like to send my thanks to, I feel like I'm getting my flowers while I'm still here, and I'm happy for it. That's what I'm trying to say. There's so many other creators who be like, yo, Ak, you the OG, you the legend. You're the reason why we started this. You did this when we were whatever, and we made our platform copying that. And by the way, I made my platform copying other people, so I'm not knocking anybody. I respect y'all, and I love y'all, and I do want y'all to know that I'm waving the flag for all of us. And also, just please know, because I do see some people, because we're all competitive in this space, when they try to get at Ak, it's not because they want to get at me. Like, what I mean? I'm just a nigga who talk shit. You probably talk shit too. They want to get rid of us. Anyway, I'll leave that as that. But I definitely wanted to just like send my thanks to all of the creators who have been. I can't name one creator who really got any type of substance who ain't be like, yo, Ak. Of course, we gonna cover some shit. Of course, I ain't telling people don't cover shit. We're gonna be like, yo, we see what this is. Love y'all for that. Okay. I should probably get to some topics now. We got about 15 minutes. Somebody said Ak is talking like his own eulogy. Nah, man. Yo, let me tell you this. I feel like people, I really honestly believe niggas give me my flowers, bro. So it's like when I'm speaking like this, it's just me telling people thanks. You know what I mean? Like, because y'all used to, like, the whole Big Ak thing, like, y'all know this, right? Like, it came from people playing me, right? Like, people, like, not acknowledging, not only my contributions, but not even acknowledging me as somebody who they had to, respect, right? So it's, unfortunately, sometimes some niggas only respect disrespect, which is, that's actually really bad. So that's where the whole Big Ak thing came from. But when you hear me speaking like this, is because, man, I'm seeing my peers and they always give it up to me, bro. Like 100%. They show me love, and I don't want to be the person who don't acknowledge it at times. I want to be the person who just say thank y'all for that. Okay, all right. Enough of the bullshit. Enough of the sappiness. Yo, I'm drinking some exclusive Henny tonight. I don't even know what this is. This is Hennessy Paratus. Look at this shit. This shit came with like a whole box. I don't even know how much it costs. Anyway, okay. I'll try to do a couple of topics for y'all. We got about 15 minutes before the B-Day. I'll probably like light some candles, blow out some balloons or pop some balloons or whatever the case is. Okay. Oh, man. It's expensive? Nah, it was supposed to be like, I don't even know how much it was. It cost a couple $100. I had it in my bar area, just like sitting in the box. But I was just like, fuck it, man. Let's do it. Okay. Somebody says, Ak, at this point you need a sponsor? Hey. I don't want to make an announcement, and actually I won't make the announcement, but chat, we did sign our first beverage deal. So from about next week, if you see some shit in the background and you see me sipping on some shit, I don't want to hear, y'all niggas better just support it. Feel me? Because I've been sipping on this Henny till my liver is over here crying. They ain't never reach out. So, we actually got a little beverage deal that just popped in, and I'm appreciative of that. All right. Enough of this pussy shit, man. Let's get straight to it. All right. Would never be here if it wasn't for y'all. Y'all created me. Y'all created what we have. All the chat niggas from here, from near and from far. If you're from the United States, you're from overseas, thank you so much. You guys have spent so much time with me. I've spent so much of my life with y'all. My life is not complete if it wasn't for you guys. And of course, I would hope your happiness and your life isn't complete with excitement and entertainment if it wasn't for me. Listen, this is as we live in this life and we're going through this parallel universe, I hope that I'm, inspiring you as much as you're inspiring me. I hope I'm entertaining you as much as you're dragging and you're taking from what I'm bringing to the table. And I hope that we can continue this for another 10 years. Thank you guys so much. I love you guys so much. I want to rock out, hopefully on copyright. Actually, it's only the first half of the song. It's a celebration.